Hello, everybody. Uh, this is the Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot, and we're coming to you tonight on a live show just to get this story out. Been real busy the last few days getting ready for the trip to Manimal Research and figured I would bring you a story tonight. So, I know it's a live thing, and glad to have a few of us, 12 of you in here now. Glad to see you guys. Anyway, on this live event, we're going to do the story out of about an Alabama Bigfoot. And that Bigfoot interrupted a day of shooting by two buddies in Alabama. Uh, well, what happened was they were in Alabama and they decided to go shooting. The young guy had been bugging his buddy to come down and shoot at his place, so he was going. He went down there to shoot with the young guy he worked with, and this guy had never really shot a M1 Garand, and the older guy had one, and he wanted to shoot it, and he had a couple of firearms he wanted to do, and so they get down there. He gets down there around noon or so one day, and they chit chat around and talk about shooting that rifle and everything, and then while they were shooting, getting ready to go out and set up targets and stuff, they decided to go out and set targets up, and the young guy was doing it. Well, his dog was sitting there beside the guy at the shooting bench, which is the older guy, and he's the one who had the M1 Grand. And while they were setting up targets, the dog started growling. The guy at the bench noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of noise coming from the woods. So, what happened? Got neighbors' dogs that want to interrupt. Anyway, he noticed there wasn't a lot of sound coming from the woods, which were about 200 yards away. And the young guy was setting up the targets, and the dog started growling. So the dog jumped up and started running down towards where the targets were set up. And the young guy was setting a bucket of tannerite. He got a hold of a bucket, a little bit of tannerite in a 5 gallon bucket. And as he set it up, the dog went flying past him, ran to the edge of the woods, started barking. And then as it started barking, I'm sorry, guys, I got a shaky hand tonight. I apologize. Anyway, it was the dog got to the woods, started barking, throwing a fit, and as it was throwing a fit, it took off running again right into the woods. Well, it ran in there. You don't know how far the dog ran, but it sounded like the dog ran a good ways into the woods. And as it ran in the woods, it started barking. It stopped, and it started barking real aggressive, growling and everything. Then all of a sudden, the dog yipped. Yeah, guys, it's another one of those where the dog gets hurt. Well, as the dog shut up, maybe about 10 seconds later, dog comes flying out through the tops of the trees that are right there at the shooting range that they're shooting on. Yes, you heard me. The dog comes flying. Not running, but flying. The dog hits the ground. The dog's dead. And the young guy takes off running to his dog to see if he can do anything for him. Well, there wasn't nothing to be done, but while he was down there, he started hearing these big, heavy footsteps coming from the woods. He looks up, and the guy at the bench looks up, is looking down there, and it's a sad situation to have your dog killed like that. I mean, it's a pretty big dog, about 100-pound dog or so, and the Bigfoot comes blasting out of the timber, The young guy sees it. He jumps up and takes off running. He gets up there about the 100-yard mark, and the guy at the bench is figuring, well, this thing's going to catch him within the next 20, 30 yards. And the Bigfoot covers 100 yards, gets up there to where that 5-gallon bucket of tannerite is, and the guy that's, well, it gets up there at the 100-yard mark, and he starts shooting at it with the M1 Garand. Now, these are steel cord bullets made for armor piercing, stuff like that. He shoots it 3 times. And after shooting it 3 times, this thing didn't even flinch. And it's almost catching up to this young guy. Well, the young guy is about 40 yards in front of it. And the only other thing that the guy that has the rifle is thinking about is trying to save his friend. So there's one option, the bucket of tannerite. Now, I don't know how much tannerite was in there because I talked to both gentlemen, and the young guy doesn't remember how much was in there. But the other guy says, well, I'm going to put a round in that tannerite and maybe get it to go off. Well, when that Bigfoot got within about 5 to 10 yards of it, he shot the bucket. The tannerite went off, knocked his buddy down. His buddy was probably within 30 or 40 yards of the shooting bench because he had veered off to the right when the guy picked the rifle up. The Bigfoot got knocked back about 5 or 10 yards. And, well, he screamed at his buddy and told him to get over to the vehicle. They were, he's gone. This thing's down, and they both get up and are running towards the vehicle to get out of there. So what happened next was he stopped and turned around to see if this thing had got up or moved, and this Bigfoot had gotten up and was running towards the woods as fast as it can. And they run over, get the vehicle. He talks his buddy into going in the house. He'll, watch over him with the rifle. And he's got a handgun on his hip, pretty big caliber handgun. He's watching over his buddy. And as he's watching over his buddy goes in and gets his clothes that he would need, for a few days. And he goes and takes him back over to where his mom and dad lives, which is a good way from him. Now, this was a trailer, a mobile home out in the middle of nowhere. And the farmer never had any trouble before, but the last 6 months or so, he couldn't get anybody to stay there any longer than a month or two. And usually they were leaving after 2 weeks. So why didn't the farmer tell nobody? And then the young guy didn't tell his buddy that he had been hearing screams and stuff like that at his place at night when he was sitting outside the fireplace. That would have been pertinent information that you should have known. But nobody opened up and told anybody anything at all. Anyway, the next day he calls that young guy and gets him to go over there with some friends, and they all go over there. They all meet up over at the trailer, and he goes in and he starts moving his stuff out the next day. Well, he moved out and told the farmer why he was leaving, and the farmer didn't believe it and just said, well, that's fine. Just go ahead and get your stuff and, that's fine. So what happened after that was this young guy decided that he was going to run his mouth. Well, evidently he told somebody something because the Department of Natural Resources for Tennessee showed up at this older guy's house along with some federal officials. And they were telling him he shot a bear, and he said, no, I never shot no bear. Don't blame me for shooting a bear. And I never shot a bear, and I never took a shot at a bear. And he told him what he thought it was. And they just laughed at him and said, "No, you shot a bear." And he said, "No, I didn't ever shot a bear, and you can't prove that I did." And so it wasn't too long after that he left the state because of what happened. So that's kind of the story for now. But while I'm here, why don't we go ahead and do about a 5 or 10 minute session of taking your questions? Put your questions in all caps, and we'll do that. That's right, Long Island. Everybody meets. Until they meet one, they're laughing. Yeah, that's right. Hey, cowboy, how you doing? Yeah, well, KKC, I'm coming to Tennessee, southeastern Tennessee here soon. In fact, Friday morning we're leaving West Virginia. We're going to be in Tennessee by the afternoon, down there to do an investigation, and then we're going to do a live show on Saturday night. I hope all y'all get to come and watch. What part of Tennessee? Southeastern Tennessee, I'll tell you this much. It's near Chattanooga. That's all I can say. He left the state on his own accord because he was being blamed for shooting a bear when he never shot a bear. A bear don't run on 2 feet. Tannerite would have killed a bear. Anybody have any more questions they would like to have answered? I don't care if it's about the story. If you need a question answered, go ahead and ask. And yes, I am shaky tonight, guys. This is an impromptu thing. Crave Dog, it will be on my channel, and we're trying to figure out how to make sure it's on Manimal's channel also. What instigated the attack? The only thing I could figure out is where the dog ran into the woods, Bomber, and aggravated the Bigfoot, and he killed the dog and threw it out of the woods, and then he came blasting out of the woods. Other than that, that's all I know. No, Paul, I don't need any oatmeal cakes. I got 4 boxes of the big ones. You're the one that needs to come to my house. Johnny, I'm doing pretty good. I'm 98% good on my eyes right now. Other than that, I'm pretty good. So, has anybody got any questions? Put them up there. We'll take them. West Virginia proud. I live in West Virginia. Lindsay, my daughter's doing well. She's almost healed up, ready to do cosmetic surgery. Yeah, Bomber, that's right. If you get here, we'll get you some chocolate cake, homemade chocolate cake. Did he kill the Bigfoot? No, Paul, he did not. The tannerite blast didn't even kill it. I will tell Mrs. Bear how you said hello, Carla. Well, since there's 61 of you and somebody wants another story, what happened to the young couple that had disappeared in the camper? Team Green, We don't know what happened to them. There's not been anything found of them. Long Island, no. Most of the time, I don't smell anything. There's only been very few times that I've ever smelled a Bigfoot, and usually that's when I'm too close. It wasn't Tennessee where the account happened. It happened in Alabama. Can't give you the place because the young guy still lives there. Well, the reason he's sure that it's a Bigfoot, it looked exactly like your typical Bigfoot. It was tall, dark hair all over it, dark colored skin, and it had a Gugway type mouth. And when I say that, it had teeth protruding out of its mouth. Its canines were protruding out of its mouth. And it looked semi human and stood over 8 foot tall, probably 4 or 5, about 4 foot, between 4 and 5 foot across shoulders. Have I ever had any run ins with the feds? Well, the men in black are feds. No, they leave me alone because I don't take any bull from any of them. They want to come to my house and question me, you better come with a warrant. If not, then you'll be run off my property. No less, because I have gotten reports of different types of Bigfoot from 44 different states in the continental U.S., and they all have um, the same features depending upon what type they are. Cowboy, what'd you smell? No, by the way, Kerry just canceled his, and I figured you guys needed a live thing tonight, so that's why I'm here. Well, that's because, Cowboy, you probably weren't that close to it. Signal Mountain, where's that at? Paul Dudley, where's that at? Signal Mountain. Yes, West Virginia Proud. I've seen quite a few in West Virginia. A lot of reports here in West Virginia, especially around Nicholas, Greenbrier, Raleigh County, Logan County, uh, Wirt County, Wood County, Kanawha, Putnam, Ohio County, Berkeley County, all the way up into the northern panhandle, the one over near Duncan. There's a bunch of stories about them moving in close. In fact, we are going to be doing a little research while we're down there for a story down there in Tennessee this weekend. Hopefully, we can get the couple to come on and tell you their story. and it's near Chattanooga. So there you go. Crave Dog, have you ever heard Bigfoots talking to each other? Yes, I have. At our research area right here, within 20 minutes of my home, where I go to my buddy's place and go out there and do a little bit of Bigfooting. We've actually been sitting there in the daytime and heard them talking to each other. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut this live feed. Y'all have a blessed night, and you get a chance, be ready for Saturday night. Be ready to go for 2 hours. That's right, KKC 63. I have heard of Boggy Creek. I watched that as a kid, seen it many a times. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a blessed night, and we will see y'all on Saturday night. Be ready for 2 hours. Get your popcorn ready. Get your drinks ready, whatever you're drinking. Uh, my personal preference is you don't get inebriated on while you're watching the show. And Thomas, I don't know if they eat their own. There is a type of Bigfoot that does eat other Bigfoot, and I don't know if they eat their dead or not. But I do know that there is another type of Bigfoot that eats their own, or cannibalistic. Yeah, I've had rocks thrown at me, hit me right dead in the middle of the back, quite a few times. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, guys. I figured to give you a little story, a little few questions. Y'all have a blessed night, and may God protect each and every one of you, and y'all watch out for Bigfoot. Bye now.